Upping the ante. Vladimir Putin says he'll move tactical nuclear weapons to Belarus by July. That would be the first time Russia has based nuclear weapons outside of its territory. The Russian president says he's only responding to Great Britain's decision to send armor-piercing munitions containing depleted uranium to Ukraine. Well, joining us with more is the Foundation for Democracy's Bradley Bowman. He's senior director of FDD's Center on Military and Political Power. Brad, this may be taking the Ukraine war to a new level, introducing nuclear weapons into a country that not only borders Ukraine, but also the NATO countries of Poland, Lithuania, Latvia. Are we seeing a dangerous escalation here, or is Putin's move just tit for tat?
Thank you for the question. It's not insignificant that Putin would take this step. You know, at this point, it's an announcement, and they're working on facilities and installation. We'll see if he actually moves forward and puts the actual non-strategic or tactical nuclear weapons, as we call them, there in Belarus. But to me, this is part and parcel of what we've seen since February 24th last year. It is Vladimir Putin rattling the nuclear saber with no indication you would actually use them certainly against NATO, most likely not against Ukraine, with the goal of striking fear in the hearts of Western capitals so we don't take additional steps to support Ukraine in trying to defeat this unprovoked Russian invasion.
But there may be additional steps for sanctions or additional sanctions. What do you think?
There is. There are always additional steps, whether there's a political will to take them, what remains to be seen. This will not be well received in Europe, obviously, and will hopefully generate additional political will to keep the alliance as unified as possible and to take tangible steps to increase NATO member defense spending and to take steps to help Ukraine, which I really do believe is on the frontier of freedom, fighting for common interests and values for all of the West.
It seems everything he does is just pushing NATO closer together, unifying them. And Putin says he's just doing what the United States has done for years, basing nukes in Turkey, Belgium, Netherlands, Italy, and Germany. The U.S. has done that. And does he have a point here, or is this situation different for NATO?
It appears that Russia has about 2,000 non-strategic nuclear weapons. These are not governed by the New START agreement. That appears to be roughly 10 times the number the United States has. And so Putin has experimented with all these strange Lovian tactical nuclear weapons that are, some of which are quite bizarre and quite irresponsible. We don't match them weapon for weapon, nor should we, but we should leave Putin with no confusion on that any attack against a NATO member, whether it be conventional or nuclear, would be the worst day of his life.
And we recently saw a historic meeting between China's President Xi Jinping and Putin in Moscow. So just how concerned should NATO and the United States be about this growing alliance?
I think we should be very concerned, but we should also have some confidence. I wouldn't want to be any other country right now than the United States, despite our challenges and shortcomings. And I wouldn't want any other alliance structure than the one the United States has. We have the NATO alliance, which Putin and Xi can only dream of having allies like we have, despite their flaws. And so, yes, they're closer than they've been in the 1950s. Yes, they're doing joint exercises. Yes, Putin's becoming kind of the junior partner of Beijing. We see them shipping energy. We see Beijing providing diplomatic cover. We see the consideration of potentially sending Chinese weapons to Russia to kill Ukrainians in their homes. These are all disturbing things, and we need to see the world as it is, not as we want it to be. But in the final analysis, I still wouldn't want to be any other country in the United States, and we should be proud of our alliance structure, and we should not take it for granted because it's a major grand strategic asset for us.
And the two leaders said they intend to change the course of history of the last 100 years. Many analysts believe that means they'll work to eliminate the dollar as the world's reserve currency. So if Saudi Arabia agrees and moves away from the dollar as the currency for trading oil, that could cause a recession, maybe even crash the U.S. economy. What do you think?
China wants to co-opt the international order to remake it in its authoritarian image. So if you don't like what you're seeing in Xinjiang with the crimes against humanity and arguably genocide, if you don't like what we've seen in Hong Kong or the South and China Sea, or in the seas and skies around Taiwan, you're not going to like an international order where Beijing calls the shots. So they're trying to co-opt the international order. By that, I mean the idea that might does not make right and that powerful countries should not be able to invade other countries to redraw borders just because they can. And Putin's trying to destroy that system. So whether you're co-opting or destroying, either of those are a problem for anyone who has a problem with might makes right. I've heard it said that, oh, it's just a territorial dispute in Ukraine by some political candidates. Well, you know what else was a territorial dispute? World War I and World War II. So we've seen this movie before, and we understand that strength is the best way to secure the peace.
And the Russians are on military maneuvers in the Sea of Japan. North Korea is launching missiles close to Japan. China's Navy still acting aggressively in the South China Sea. So how should the U.S. respond to all of this? Are we heading toward a big war here?
I think we could be, and it'll be dependent on how we act. And so the bad news is that we got problems. The good news is that we have agency here, and we can do things, deter aggression. But we better act fast because our military advantages are eroding in the Taiwan Strait, and our adversaries, namely China, Russia, and Iran, are closer than they've been in a long time, and they're conducting strategic coordination against us. So we need to spend more in defense. We need to build capabilities faster. We need to wake up. China's already in a Cold War with us, and we need to keep that Cold War cold, and we'll do that by speaking with clarity and acting with strength.
Okay, Bradley Bowman, Senior Director of FDD's Center on Military and Political Power. Thank you, Brad, for sharing your time and insights. We appreciate it.
Thank you.